Hey everybody, T-Mac back again. I'm going to do a little quick video showing you what's in my pack, a little update, what I do from what I've changed out from my 2016 hike. A lot has changed. Like I said, even though I've done long hikes before, not many, but you get started in this and it's a big learning curve. So I'm going to do this in segments as we're going along here. Start from my pack and my shelter, then my sleep system, and then cooking water, and just a few essentials that's in the pack, and then I'll do clothes and food later on. Biggest thing I've changed out is my pack. When I started last year, started in 2016. I had Atmos, Osprey Atmos 65. It was a great pack. It was a heavy pack. It's a very durable pack, but and it was just, I learned quickly it was too large for everything that I carry. I try to carry minimal, but when I took off 1st of April 2016, I just loaded it up. A lot of gear, a lot of food, a lot of clothes that I didn't need, and of course, like a lot of people, when I got to Neal's Gap, I shipped some things back and changed out a few things, and then went on from there with that. One thing I've gotten now that I use is the Atmos 48. This is the older model. 48 seemed to work for me. I had an older Osprey 48 before. It was a heavier canvas. Not the canvas, but the whatever material it was. It wasn't the Atmos. I can't remember the model. But I love the pack. I love the size. I love the compartments it had. The only problem with it, again, it was just a little heavy, and it didn't have the mesh on the back, air suspension here. It just had like some kind of foam that rode right on your back, and it was hot, very hot. I did quite a bit of the Benton MacKaye Trail with that, and like I said, it was the perfect size. It had perfect compartments and everything, so I like the 48. I bought the 58, the newer model, the Atmos 58, last August from REI on sale, thinking that if I start earlier in the year that I'll need more room and carry more winter clothing and stuff. And I packed everything up in it, and I still I can take the brain off and still have room. So for what I carry now, it's a little large. Capacity size, not fitting size. But I like having the brain on. I know a lot of people say, well, you can take the brain off if you don't need it and save a little weight. But if you take the brain off of the 58, then you're kind of cutting down to a 48. The 48, even the older model, it rides well. It's almost like carrying a day pack compared to the 65 that I had. So everything fits. I like the brain because I want to put things in the top as easy access instead of having to get in to the whole pack itself. So I really like it. I'm a larger guy, so I have a big middle a little bit, so I can't get to the pockets too well, but I keep small things in that. So that's my pack. My tent is a Big Agnes Fly Creek 2, very light to me. I just can't, this cost enough. I thought about buying the Z-Pack 2, whatever, 10th at 8. It is this big with a lot of the ultralighters, but this works. The only thing I don't like about it is having that front entry. I had a Big Agnes Copper Spur 1, the older model that had the little door on the opposite side of your entry. I love that, but the thing with that one was it was just a little bit heavier, not much, but it is orientated that, so you have the larger, the wider headroom and the smaller foot room. And, if you're trying to put it up where you want the door to go one way and so you can, sleep with your head up instead of sliding down a hill or something. That was a big thing. So I put both of these up for sale. Sold the Copper Spur to a gentleman in Virginia, and I hope he's going to take good care of it and get a lot of good use out of it, because I use it quite a bit. And so, I said I'll sell one, whichever one I sell, I'll keep the other. So this is what I took it out of the sack, only so I could compress it down a little more. And I put it in the Cedar Summit dry sack. I didn't buy this sack for this. I just had them back in years ago when I was buying a lot of equipment. I thought I had to buy everything and see what I'm going to use, so that I keep it in here so it will fit in my pack very well, and I can compress it down. And I didn't want to go out and buy a compression sack, spend any more money, and just use the things I have. I also have a Hennessy hammock. I like the hammock. I love the hammock, but I'm a warm weather sleeper in the hammock. I'm not going to spend the money for the underquilts, the big underquilts, and the overquilt. I would like to, but for what I do, I just can't see spending that kind of money. Plus, being an older gentleman, I'm 68, almost 68. So, like I said, I'll go with the hammock, and I have the my tarp. It's the Hex tarp, the Hennessy Hex tarp. But I will tell you, I've Dutch square blinged out everything. The only thing I have is just a hammock, and got the tarp and the snake skins. I had my hammock in snake skins, but I got a little cumbersome trying to pack it all up, so I had another one of these sacks, and I put it in. I used to just keep it in the Hennessy kit sacks, but I had this, and I can compress it down, so that's what I did. So that's why I keep it like that. I do have a underquilt for it. I'll get to it. It's a NOC underquilt. ENO underquilt. This underquilt I'll show you when I get to my sleeping bag and stuff. But there's my packs and my shelter, and we'll be right back with some more. All right, everybody, here we go. This is I'll show you my sleep system. I use a sleeping bag. I would like to, when I do hammock camping, or I like to have a quilt, but I just, this is what I've got, so I'm just going to use it. And I thought about purchasing a quilt, the underquilt and the overquilt. A lot of people go into quilts. I don't know how much I'll use it. I'm used to sleeping bags, so this is what I have. My wife gave me this sleeping bag a year ago Christmas. I had an older REI down bag. This is back before they did the standard ratings on them. But feathers started coming out. I used it for my 2016 section hike, and I'd get up in the morning, I just had feathers everywhere. But I used this for 3 nights last year when I did from NOC to Fontana, and really like it. It's lightweight and it's warm for it. So good sleeping bag, and I sleep in my hammock with sleeping bag. I have another Mountain Hardwear. I forgot what the rating is for the Mountain Hardwear. I carry it when I go in summer. sleep in this a lot lighter bag, but I may just start carrying this one all the time instead. I do use a liner, especially in the winter time. I pretty much carry it with me all the time unless it's just dead summer and it's going to be pretty hot. And sometimes I still carry it and just use it to sleep in instead. Came in handy in 2016 because we had some cold nights. Even though I started out in my hammock, I sent it home and got my tent. I sleep in my tent in the cold nights, and like I said, a warm weather hammock camper. So, and that works for me. The pillow, I guess this is a luxury item. A lot of people call them luxury items, but I have to have a pillow. And back in the earlier days, I used to put my pack in there and use a clothes sack for my pillow. But I had another pillow, lightweight pillow. Didn't like the way it blew up and let the air out of it. So I saw Darwin on the trail and other people reviewing the Cedar Summit pillows. I got this one, and I really like. I used it last year for the first time, and this one works out much better. I really like this pillow. Air mattress. I switched this out last year, and the reason I did the Big Egg is the width of it. And it's insulated. I use it in my hammock. I used it a couple of times in my hammock. It works great. I've used it in my tent and in the shelters, and to me it works great. Some people say it's not as comfortable as the Thermarest NeoAir, which I had an older model NeoAir. I mean, really older model, one of the first NeoAirs that they came out with, and I sold it last year. I sold it just when I bought this, and so I'm happy with the sleeping pad. I don't like the extra width on it. The one thing I did buy when I got that was the airbag. This is a little more difficult to blow up, larger air hole, so the airbag works great. I'll always carry that, and I use it for the stuff sack for my sleeping bag. So I keep everything, my sleeping bag, my bag liner, and my pillow in this bag here. The only problem I have is trying to compress it down enough. Where I used to keep everything in a small Cedar Summit compression sack. Can't get it compressed down enough because I just can't get enough air out of it. Even though it has the hole, when I got the sleeping bag in there, it stops up the hole on the inside. This is my underquilt. Occasionally I'll take it with me when it's going to get down in. I know I got some 40-degree weather. I'll use it 40 to 50. It works out pretty good, but the pad works okay for me. And I know a couple of years ago, so I watched Sam I Am. He's a hammock camper, used a pad, the Z-Lite, the accordion style. I think is what he had. So I have one of those also. I tried it. I took it with me in 2016, and it works out okay, but I just wanted the extra length, the width on that. And I know last year I saw a guy, Wandering Dad. He's a hammock camper, and that guy's funny. I loved his videos. But he's a hammock camper, and he used sleeping pad in a bag. So, and I think Tim Watson, he uses a quilt, but he uses a pad. I think he still does. I haven't seen much of his videos lately. So anyway, that's my sleep system, and I'll move on to my water and my cook set, and we'll go from there.